Hello, Tyler Gorn here with another video. The other day I did a video on a charcoal generating module that's designed to be used in conjunction with tree farm, in that sort of thing. And one of the comments I got was from @C Cutlery, or Cutlery if you prefer. I don't know. And anyway, they asked basically, oh, if I understand this correctly, we could actually just sub in a smoker for the furnaces, and in this case over here, could put a smoker for the furnaces and then a crafter in place of these droppers and get the same functionality but output kelp blocks or dried kelp blocks. And it's not that simple. There's a couple of reasons why, but it turns out it actually doesn't take too much to get there. First, quick review. So the idea here, we've got logs coming in from a tree farm. They get converted to charcoal. So the way we do that, basically just kind of passing from the tree farm over the charcoal farm and then into the log storage. And then in the interim here, the charcoal farm, we could turn that on or off and generate charcoal as well. So in terms of fuel, dried kelp blocks are actually like one of the best options, I think. And again, @C Cutlery, I really appreciate the comment. One, because I just forget that kelp exists. But two, it kind of got me thinking about things, and I'm really happy with this design. So yeah, the way that this one works first, we've got essentially a makeshift item filter up at the top. So as we pass over, in this case, spruce logs, they're going to fill up here. And then intermittently, we, every 10 seconds, 200 game ticks, we quickly unlock this hopper and then lock it back. That allows one log to come through. That also QC powers the dropper here, which is going to be our fuel resupply circuit. So eventually, as this is running, we get a full stack over here, full stack over here. And then if this is full, then, the item that's in the dropper, that gets passed into our output. So that's our basic circuit there. Pretty happy with that. Please check out the video if you feel so inclined to get a little bit more information on how this thing works in context. But yeah, the context of this video, the smoker, which frankly I also forget about these. I forget about the smoker and the blast furnace. Just most of the time when you're doing a big giant furnace array, you just use regular furnaces, because the benefits of these being twice as fast are kind of pretty heavily tamped down by the fact that they only accept a couple of different items. So the idea here, we've got a kelp farm, and then we want to get dried kelp blocks. These things are really nice. You can smelt 20 items with them, and they're just a really good fuel source. So basic idea, same as before. The kelp comes in through the top. Essentially have an item filter that's created, and in this case, again, this hopper that's pointing down into our smoker is locked by default, and every 5 seconds, these are twice as fast, so it's 100 game ticks. Every 100 game ticks, we unlock this, and that allows one kelp item to go into the smoker, and then the output, instead of going into a dropper, as was suggested, it can go into a crafter. And the difference being that this crafter, we only want to trigger once it's full. It doesn't matter if you trigger it with an incomplete recipe, but just to make things a little cleaner. And then this is pointing straight up into a dropper. And that dropper, once that fills up, then there's no more room. And at that point, it's actually kind of convenient how this works. If you trigger a dropper that's pointing into an item that doesn't have any room, then it doesn't do anything. The attempt fails. Whereas with the crafter, if you trigger that going into a filled container, as would be the case here, then it just kind of pushes that item up and clips it into the block anyway. And in this case, we have 1, 2, 3, and then it'd be stacked, so 4 and 5 sides are covered. And then there's only one place for our kelp block item to go, which is our output stream on either side. So this is, I would say, probably the most concise way that you could do this. I know those are fighting words, so, feel free to prove me wrong. It's always nice to be proven wrong with stuff like that, but I'm, really happy with this. So before showing you the full design, I'll kind of show the little mock-up here using just 1/2 of the slice. So, quick review, we've got hopper counter, 7 items exactly in this one, and there's no modifications like there were if you've seen the the charcoal video. 7 items gets you exactly 100 game ticks. That's all we need. Now, the powered block here, or redstone, that just goes straight into this line to lock it by default, not allowing any kelp down. And in place of the, in this one, we actually use the same signal to periodically lock the output hopper. Well, we don't have an output hopper at all. It's just this crafter block, so we don't have to worry about that. All we do is we take the fill level of the crafter and compare it against, one that has, well, actually, we have to do that. There we go. So this is outputting power level 8. As soon as this is full of items, it gets crafted, and then that'll go up here. So I'll do that again. I just removed an item. There we go. Got sent back. Now watch what happens when I fill this up and there's no room. There we go. You just saw it. Essentially, yeah, it's dropped straight into the inside of this dropper, and the only spot for it to go is out. So I'll do that one more time. There we go. So yeah, let's go ahead and turn on the clock here just so you can see it operating. Kelp block in, or just rather kelp, and then that gets smelted into dried kelp. All right, and here we go. There's room up here, so that's going to go up. There it goes. We're now full. So yeah, this next one is going to go straight into our output. Yeah, as far as the interesting things about this design and what's allowing it to be so simple is we don't even have an output circuit per se. The only thing that's happening is we're kind of abusing the behavior of these blocks. So again, droppers, if this is completely full, it just fails the operation to push more kelp blocks into the smoker. Whereas crafters, if they're trying to push into a filled container, it just pushes it up anyway inside of the block. So essentially we're spitting the item backwards out of the dropper, which is kind of amusing. So yeah, let me go ahead and show you an example of a 16 module of this. So we're currently passing the output of our command block kelp farm over the top. Yeah, so this is turned on now. Getting kelp. Timings are perfect, so there's only ever 1 kelp in here. And yeah, so let's do 20 seconds. All right, and we're close. These are full, which means we're going to get some output here in a second. There we go. All right, yeah, so I guess a couple more things to end the video. First, a quick discussion about the rates. Each smoker is going to use 720 kelp per hour, and the way that the output works so that you get 11/20ths. So for every 20 kelp that you use, you get back 11 of those. So 11/20ths of 720 is 396. So that's the amount of regular kelp that we would get out of this, and then you divide that by 9 because got to use basically 9 dried kelp per kelp block that you're generating. So result of that, each furnace, or each smoker rather, is going to be 44 kelp blocks out, and then again 720 kelp in. So for instance, for the 16 modules here, we would need a kelp farm that produces 11,520 kelp per hour, and then that will in turn produce 704 dried kelp blocks per hour. So the last point is going to be the practical implementation here with a kelp farm. This is a modified version of something that Ilmango designed a while back. And the main thing if you want your output to be, your utilization of these smokers to be as efficient as possible, we want to have even output from the farm. And most don't have that feature. Most of the time, you're going to wait, say, like 20 minutes, and then you'll send off the flying machines or whatever your harvesting method is. And then you get just a bunch of items all at once. Most of those are going to flow over the top of the hoppers and then go into your output. So you're really not utilizing it fully if the output is uneven. So the options there would just be to build more modules and design it to handle whatever the peak output of your kelp farm is, or you just build it this size and deal with lower than ideal rates. In either case, for full information on this, again, I'm going to reference the charcoal farm video, but we've got a security feature here. So whenever this is down to, say, 41 or whatever we configure it to, the whole thing freezes. And then once you receive more items, then it'll start up again. So that is everything. If you have any questions, please let me know. And I guess enjoy this moire effect. Is that what it's called? All right. Have a great day. Bye.